Luc Bouchard with Solve Act Life Coaching Services. I've been a certified life skills coach for 22 years, and I specialize in men's issues and what keeps men stuck and how come they avoid intimacy. Today is the 40th day of the 72-day challenge. We're in the 6th week, and the weekly theme is intimacy, oddly enough. Our daily focus is how men parent, and the topic is, does an absent father have to equate to absent sons? Welcome, and I'm so glad you could join me, and thank you for tuning into this video. So, does absent fathers have to equate to absent sons? What do I mean by that? Well, in essence, what I'm saying is that what we learned as children from our parents is how we are today in our adult lives. Furthermore, what we learned from our parents actually comes from 3 generations before our parents, or 3 generations before us. So our grandparents and our great-grandparents have influenced us because they influenced our parents. And unless we're aware of the fact that we have this kind of lineage of influence that goes back 3 generations, we might be missing something about how we're influenced and how we are affected by things today. And I'm going to illustrate one point as to how I believe this to be true with the idea of our work ethic. Because it is our work ethic that comes from our parents and our grandparents and our great-grandparents. And if you think about it, just for the most part, just for most people, just stop and go, well, what was your work ethic? What was your father's work ethic like? What was your grandfather's work ethic like, and your great-grandfather? And you'll probably see a lot of consistencies. They may not look the exact same way because we live in a different world, we live in different economies, we live in different realities today. But generally what you believe about work and what you believe about how you should work and what an honest day's work is, or how much work you should put in, comes from not only your parents but your grandparents and your great-grandparents. Other influences that affect us in our belief system, besides our work ethic, is going to be everything from religion to politics, friendships, addictions, sexuality, just to name a few. And the one that's most important to this particular topic in this video is how we communicate. And if we come from 3 generations of fathers and grandfathers and great-grandfathers who are emotionally closed off and emotionally absent, well, of course that's going to influence us. And of course that's going to affect us. Because that's what we've learned. Or if you've had, very gregarious or very outgoing and very demonstrative, very feeling-based father, well, likelihood his father and his father's father was like that. So we need to understand that basically we have this influence, and that's where the term comes in. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, because face it, we get our makeup comes from somewhere, not only our genetic makeup but our emotional makeup. So if we've had fathers that were emotionally absent and closed off and disengaged emotionally because they being vulnerable was not okay, and being authentic with their feelings was not okay, well, that brings up a few questions. How was that for you as a child when you grew up not having an emotionally present father? Did you have the type of relationship you wanted with your dad? And further, are you perpetuating the cycle one more time about being emotionally unavailable to your kids? And if it didn't feel good as a son or a daughter to not have that kind of connection with your parents, or your father specifically, then what are you going to do about it so you don't do that with your children? And really what we're talking about is a communication style. It's not written in stone. And unless we're aware of the fact that it's a style, which is really a choice, then we kind of think we have to do it, or that's the way it is, and it's not. Absolutely it's not. We can choose to be different. We can choose to have a different communication style with our kids. We can choose to be closed off, or we can choose to be open. We can choose to be vulnerable, or we can choose to be distant. Full stop. That's really what it's about, is a choice. Just like I say, confusion is a choice. So what do you want your children to have in their lives? And do you want to perpetuate yet again, another cycle of being emotionally closed off, because that's what your parents learned, your father, that's what your grandfather learned, and that's what your great-grandfather learned and was like. And we don't have to be that way. At one point, it really wasn't a choice. I'm going to likely do a video on the luxury of feelings and how that's really being emotionally available is just really something that's of the 21st century phenomenon, late 20th and the 21st century phenomena, where really it didn't matter before if you're emotionally available. That was just really a luxury. But we don't live in that world anymore. And we don't have to engage in, well, that's what I grew up with, so that's how I have to be. We don't. So were you raised in a family where your father and your parents were emotionally unavailable? And are you raising your kids in that kind of environment right now? Or when you're around them, do they basically have you emotionally present? Are you connected with them? And how should you be with them versus how you are? And I know I shouldn't be shitting on you, but really, what do your kids deserve? I'll leave you with that thought. And tomorrow will be more conversations on intimacy, and as we go into into day 41. So I hope you have a great day, and take care. Luc Bouchard with Solvac Life Coaching Services. I've been a certified life skills coach for 22 years, and I specialize in men's issues and why men avoid intimacy. Bye.